Welcome, fellow lovers of the weird and strange. This is Lance, your host of Legends of the Hidden Horde, where we explore the cryptids that stalk the dark corners of our globe. A huge thank you to all of you for tuning in. Your ears make these strange journeys possible. If you're enjoying the show, please hit that subscribe button, leave us a quick review, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or X. Every subscription, every star rating, every follow helps us reach more curious minds and keeps the stories coming. Your support truly makes a difference. Now let's dive into the next story. Now grab your backpack. We're heading into the dark backcountry of Canada in episode 9, the Lac Wood Screecher. The deep woods of Lac Wood do not welcome intruders. They enfold you in silence so complete it feels deliberate, as if the trees themselves have agreed to hold their breath. 5.5 hours north of Montreal, the lake lies like a dark mirror in the Mauricie backcountry. Dense spruce and pine pressing close, narrow footpaths offering the only illusion of safety. Locals who have lived beside these forests for generations speak of the Lac Wood Screecher in fragments, never full stories, as if naming it too loudly might summon its attention. They call it the midnight howler, the ear rattler among the trees, the force of the forest, but its true name carries a warning. Stay on the marked trails. The woods remember those who stray. No ancient indigenous tales anchor it in time. It's a newer shadow, born perhaps from the modern collision of human ambition and untamed wilderness. Yet the folklore has thickened quickly among the hikers and hunters and those who guide outsiders through the green labyrinth. It is said to be a guardian of the deep places, an entity that does not hunt for sport, but enforces boundaries we have forgotten we must respect. Some whisper it is not flesh and blood at all, but the resentment of the forest giving voice and form, a living rebuke to every cleared trail, every felled tree, every footprint that treats the wild as playground rather than sovereign realm. Elias was the first whose words reached beyond the campfire circle. A Montreal trekker in 2017. He posted anonymously on a wilderness forum after his solo hike went wrong. He had left the monotonous main path chasing what he thought was an unusual bird call. The underbrush grew thicker, the light dimmer. Scattered across the moss like forgotten wool were patches of coarse hair. Curious, he brushed one aside with his bare hand. Within minutes, an itch bloomed into burning red welts. By nightfall, back at his tent, blisters had risen, skin peeled in thin, angry sheets that wept clear fluid. He described the pain as acid eating outward from within. But the true terror came later, the unshakable conviction that something had marked him, that unseen eyes followed him all the way to the trailhead. He never returned to Lac Wood. His skin still bears faint scars years later. Others followed with similar fragments. A party of hunters in the same region heard a low, raspy growl drifting through the trees, almost human, yet wrong in its timbre, like a voice dragged over broken glass. One man felt the weight of being watched so intensely that his hands shook on his rifle. They pressed deeper, dismissing the dread as nerves. Then the screech arrived. It began as a high, metallic wail slicing through the canopy, bone-chilling in its purity, like rusted steel screaming against itself. The first cry froze them in place, a primal warning that locked muscles and flooded the mind with pure animal terror. The second came closer. Vibrations rattled through their skulls, bursting eardrums in one hunter and sending waves of nausea so violent they vomited blood-tinged bile. Headaches throbbed like hammers on their brain. Nosebleeds poured freely. They fled, half carrying the worst afflicted, and swore the sound pursued them for miles, echoing in their dreams long after they reached the pavement and streetlights. By 2018, reports had leaked beyond Quebec. Vague auditory encounters in the woods of New Brunswick, even whispers from Nova Scotia, always the same. No visual confirmation, only the metallic screech and its aftermath. Proximity alone inflicted damage. Throbbing migraines that felt as though the skull itself was being resonantly shaken apart, internal organs vibrating until they bled, and always those cursed leavings, strands of coarse hair and flakes of dandruff-like skin. Touch them and the irritation began innocently enough, itching, raised bumps, then escalated relentlessly. Rash became blister. Blister became raw open wound. In severe cases, skin peeled in large sheets, exposing flesh that bled profusely and scarred thickly, as if the forest itself had rejected the intruder at a cellular level. The worst account remains that of Margaret DuPont in the summer of 2019. A seasoned local who knew the trails better than most, she vanished during a solo hike. Searchers found her days later, deep off the marked paths. Her body was riddled with deep, tearing bite marks. Much of her lower torso had been ripped away with savage efficiency. Yet the true abomination waited inside her intact skull. Her brain had been reduced to a gray, liquefied soup that sloshed sickeningly when the remains were removed. No known predator on the continent could produce such precise, horrifying damage. The air around the scene carried a faint metallic tang, and patches of the creature's hair clung to nearby branches like accusations. Officials called it a bear attack. Those who had heard the stories knew better. The Screecher had not merely killed her, it had unmade part of her from within. No one has ever seen the creature. Trail cameras capture only static or empty frames. No footprints, no fur samples beyond the irritating strands, no clear description of its form or size. It exists as sound and consequence, an absence made terrifying by what it leaves behind. Some speculate it employs a form of monstrous echolocation, its screech not merely a call but a weapon that resonates through flesh and bone. Others believe the hair and dandruff carry a chemical or biological defense, evolved in isolation to punish any who dare touch what belongs to the wild. Those who survive an encounter speak of a deeper horror. The Screecher remembers. It carries the scent of those who brushed its domain. Return to those woods, and the metallic wail will find you again, closer, angrier, more insistent. The forest closes ranks, the trails seem to shift, and eventually the unseen presence claims what it was denied the first time. The Lac Wood Screecher is more than a cryptid haunting Quebec's backcountry. It is a stark embodiment of the boundary between human dominion and the untamable other. We have spent centuries mapping, clearing, and illuminating the wild, convincing ourselves that every shadow must yield to our light, every mystery submit to our instruments. Yet this entity, unseen, unphotographed, defined only by the damage it inflicts, reveals the arrogance in that assumption. Its screech is not random savagery. It is judgment delivered in frequencies that bypass our rational minds and strike the primal core. The liquefied brain, the peeling flesh, the inescapable nausea, these are not mere biological weapons, but metaphors made manifest. Attempts to oppose order on chaos invite disillusion from within. The deeper lesson is humbling and urgent. True coexistence with the unknown does not come through conquest or endless expansion, but through cultivated reverence and restraint. As our changing climate and growing populations push us even deeper into the shrinking wild sanctuaries, as our technologies promise to pierce every remaining darkness, we risk awakening or provoking more such forces. The Lac Wood Screecher whispers a warning that echoes beyond Quebec's pines. The universe does not owe us visibility or safety. Some realms are meant to remain veiled, not because they are empty, but because they are full of intelligences that do not recognize our supremacy. Ignore that boundary at our peril. The woods remember, and if we continue to forget, the hidden horde of the world may one day screech back, not in warning, but in reclamation, reminding a species that mistook dominion for destiny that we were never the sole authors of the story. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the story, hit that subscribe button, give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, or X. And until next time, keep your eyes open. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows.